Well, good evening. This is Hound Dog Steve coming to you on the 21st of March, and that is a Wednesday evening. Okay, so our first story has got to be Facebook on hot seat. Okay, so what happened? Facebook had a data breach with a company called Cambridge Analytica. Okay, so here is Christopher Wylie, and this guy is a whistleblower. And I'm going to call this actually out as a WebBot hit. I remember Cliff High said in the advertising section of the last report that you'll be seeing whistleblowers coming out because they didn't like what they were seeing, what they've been told to do by their bosses. Okay, so Christopher Wylie is a contractor, and he worked with Cambridge Analytica, and they formed an algorithm which would scoop your personal information from Facebook. Now, they had an arrangement with Facebook. They paid for this right to do this with Zuckerberg and Facebook, and so there is no legal problem here. They were allowed to scoop the information. I don't know whether Facebook was aware of the complexity of the algorithm and its ability to scoop your information. But the problem seems to be is that Cambridge Analytica then shared the information with other third parties, and that broke the agreement with Facebook. That's my understanding of the whole deal. Anyways, but it really just goes to show you how creepy Facebook has become. You know, sniffing around, picking up your information, and you know, I'm sure you've had the experience of going to a website where you're looking for something, and next thing you know, you have ads popping up all over your Facebook page for the very thing you were looking for. What a surprise. Anyway, the share price in Facebook has dropped by 5%. This guy, Christopher Wylie, has had his Facebook account suspended by Facebook purely for whistleblowing on the whole deal, which is that's pretty scary. You know, that one of when you do stuff like that, you can shut down free speech. Okay, because the consequences, you know, Facebook is a fairly wide-ranging you know, platform, just like Google is, and if Google shuts you down and your Gmail saying you're running a business and you need to use your Gmail, that your website is your business. I mean, the consequences are pretty scary, and so you will just start policing yourself. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, you know, on June the 1st. I guess I'm going to have to get all my Bitcoin commentary out before then, because it sounds like as soon as you mention the word Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, boing, you're going to be stomped on by YouTube or Google. And this, my friends, is how you lose your freedom of speech. And the only way to prevent that is for us, John Q. Public, to start speaking up, to finding a spine and speaking up, throwing your fear into the garbage can where it belongs, and speaking out about this nonsense. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible that Facebook, and I'm sure Google is doing the same thing, you know, working with these companies, these data gathering companies. And of course, I find it kind of amusing that the first thing they tied this story to is the Trump election, because this program was used to scoop data to get Trump votes. Trump employed Cambridge Analytica. Okay, so just in case you're wondering that it was only Trump, here's a little clip from Rentrack and Caroline Davidson, who is the CEO, I think she is. Anyway, she's explaining how they did exactly the same thing for the Obama election.
So, hype kind of versus reality. On the Obama campaign, we built the optimizer and we spent $594 when the Romney campaign spent $66, right? So that's the hype. That's an amazing, amazing statistic point, but the reality is that KPI doesn't matter.
So this is an interesting point to note, is that the politicians can basically influence your decision. Forget the Russians. Forget the Russians. It's your own people that are the problem. Obama used the same tricks as Trump did to get elected during his term, both terms. Okay, so neither side is free of guilt, and we need to recognize that. That's what we need to be aware of, is both sides are playing the same game, and then both sides are pointing the finger at each other and blaming each other, and we're getting angry, and in that process we're not getting anything resolved. Okay, next story. Dump him somewhere. Now you can see this is a Russian woman. She's coming out of court, and I would ask you to notice the expression on her face. Okay, so what happened was she tried to hire a hitman to take out her husband. Okay, her name is Marina Ray, and their former mutual friend Victor Sokolowski, a Richmond Hill judo instructor. The friend told police she'd asked him to find her a hitman. She insisted she wasn't serious about wanting to kill her ex-husband. It was just an expression. Anyway, the York Regional Police set up a sting, and so an officer went over there as posed as a hitman, and she says, once again the undercover officer asked her repeatedly if she's sure she wants to go through with the hit. Ray assures him that she does. Please make sure he's dead, she adds. Dump him somewhere. After paying him a $700 down payment with an envelope of $20 bills, she sighs. Now I feel better. A few minutes later, Ray was under arrest. Now she claims investigators took advantage of her and should have known she wasn't in her right mind at the time. There should have been a cooling off period before they moved in and arrested her. Cops have no right to manufacture crimes by provoking citizens, especially in distress, Ray says. They have no right to test people's moral standards. You just try to hire a hit guy, and you want to talk about moral standards? That's entrapment. There is so much on the line. If she loses the motion, she's facing a possible 14-year prison sentence. I'm not going to jail. Justice must prevail, insists Ray, who has set up a website, marinaray.ca, and written The Price of Red Roses, a memoir of love, betrayals, and counseling to commit murder. It's one monstrous injustice. And so just once again, just take a little look at her face. She looks pretty happy. She looks pretty smug to me. Okay? And so, again, and I would recommend you do the same thing as I do. What I do in a situation like this, I flip it around. And instead of Marina Ray being a woman, I imagine it as a man doing the same thing to his wife. And can you imagine? Can you imagine the backlash? Can you imagine the outrage? There'd be a lynch mob at the courthouse if you had a guy with a smile like that on his face after having conspired to have a hit person kill his wife. And this is what I am frustrated with, is the hypocrisy of the situation. Can we not see that that is totally hypocritical? Why is she out? A man would not be walking around free. I guarantee you a man would be locked up and remanded in custody until the next trial date. And yet this woman is walking around free as a bird, having conspired to kill her husband. There you go. Next story. Ford recalls 1.4 million cars because their steering wheels might come off. Ah! Are you kidding me? I can't believe this story. Listen to the opening line. Under pressure. Okay, so imagine this, okay, you're driving down the highway and you go to pull out to pass somebody and your frickin' steering wheel comes off in your hand. Can you imagine the panic? Can you imagine what you would do? Under pressure. From the US regulators, Ford Motor Company is recalling nearly 1.4 million mid-sized cars in North America, including 62,000 in Canada, because the steering wheel can detach from the steering column and drivers could lose control. Give me a break. The recall covers certain Ford Fusion and Lincoln MKZ cars from the 2014 through 2018 model years. And it says that we are going to resolve the situation by putting in a longer bolt. You know, one that reaches the end so the nut will go on it properly, maybe? I don't know. Be very careful about what you're driving around these days. And that is it from me, Hound Dog Steve. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please, you have a great evening and a great week to come. And we will, oh sorry, if you like and subscribe below if you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate that when that happens. And please, you have yourself a great week, and we will talk very soon. Take care now. See ya.